Okay.
Plenty of time.
My topic is why do bad things happen to good people? And if you're asking, if you're thinking what I was thinking, is why would I choose one of the toughest subjects for people to cover? And it wasn't initially planned, but my topical verse just kind of led me to that. So that's what I'm going to talk about, and I think it's something that affects the majority of us, if not all of us. I know me personally, it's one of my toughest struggles, is to try to come to an understanding of why God allows us to go through bad times. My first point, why does God choose whom He does? And simply put, we don't know. I think about, and it was appropriate that Trent was in chapel yesterday, I think about Sister Valerie Watrous. I know most of y'all, if any of y'all didn't know her, I'm sure Billy did. But I was at church that evening when she passed away, and she had just gone through a miscarriage, and as I know, I think it wasn't her first. She had gone through those before. But she was walking home from church that evening, and a man that was under the influence of drugs and alcohol hit her with his car, and she died later that night. One of the sweetest women I've ever known, one of the nicest women anyone could have ever known. She did so much for the people in Guyana, for the people at the Henderson Church of Christ. And that was a time when a lot of us at that congregation were wondering, why could such a terrible thing happen to such a wonderful woman? And simply put, we don't know. But in Isaiah 55, verse 9, he said, we know that His ways are higher than our ways. A good movie that I like to watch, Bruce Almighty. He goes through so many tough things. He loses his job. He gets his car damaged, all these different things, and there's a scene that he just kneels down and cries out to God, why are you doing this to me? What have I done to deserve this? I've done everything that you asked me to. Why are you doing this to me? And as you know, if you've seen that movie, the movie goes on and he gets the powers of God and can do whatever he wants to with it. And he takes it for granted. He doesn't know what to do because his ways aren't as high as God's ways. Why else? Why does God choose whom He does? Something that I came to a conclusion, because we can handle it. There are many situations in the Bible. Paul, many times in Acts in the New Testament, he is arrested, he is beaten, many things happen to him, but he turned to God. Noah, some people made fun of him, but he still had his eyes on the prize and turned to God. Abel was killed for doing what God wanted him to do. Job, that's the one we always turn to when we have our tough times, is Job, because he had one of the toughest lives that anyone has ever lived. But that's because God knew that He could handle it. Josh kind of used the point that I was planning on using in Job chapter 1, verse 8. And he says, consider my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth. And like he said, put your name in that. Consider my servant Jared. Consider my servant Josh. Consider my servant Billy. Anyone. Put yourself in that situation and know that God allows you to go through these things because He knows that you can handle it. He knows that you're a servant of His and that you'll turn to Him in your time of need. Also, 1 Corinthians 10 and verse 13. No temptation is beyond what we can handle. And no trial is beyond what we can handle. God knows that we can handle it. He's with us all the way. My second point, how do we handle it? There's two ways, and those are obvious, the positive way and the negative way. On the negative way, we can be sad, we can just sulk, we can quit, we can give up. We can be angry, and I think that's how a lot of us turn. We get angry at God. I can think my dad has had plenty of health problems over the last few years, and because of these, he hasn't been able to work like he has the talent to do. He was unemployed for almost a year, and I remember throughout that year praying and saying, God, I don't know what you want from me. I've done everything that you've asked me to do. I do not know what you want me to do. I was angry, and all I can think is, if Jesus right there could answer me back, what would he say to me? Jared, you've got to be kidding me. What did you do to deserve this? I died on a cross for you. I was beaten, I was mocked, I was spat upon, I was made fun of by the people I was saving. And you're saying, what did you do to deserve something like this? That's tough to grasp. He's been there, and the positive way is to turn to him, because he knows what we've been through. He knows what we're going through. He's going through the worst thing that anyone could possibly go through for us. Because I sin every single day. I know I do. And I'm sure all of you do. Yes, we're good people. We're Christians. We strive to do what he wants us to do. But we fall short. Jesus didn't. He was perfect in every way. And my topical verse is Galatians 6, verse 9 and 10. And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. So then as we have opportunity, let us do good to everyone, especially to those who are of the household of faith. The key phrase in verse 9, in due season, in due time, whichever your translation says. He's promised us a reward. And that reward is money and gold and cars and all the things that we could want on this earth. No. He's promised us something so much greater. In Matthew chapter 6, verse 19 through 21, he tells us to not lay our treasures up on this earth, for these things will pass away, but to lay for yourself treasures in heaven. Where your treasures are, there your heart will be also. Revelation 21, I don't know if we read this that much, and for sake of time and Spivey's antsiness, I'm not going to read it. But chapter 21 goes on and on about the New Jerusalem. He describes heaven and all the things that we can expect there. And in verse 21, it talks about the streets of gold, which we sing many times in different songs. The streets of gold. Think about what our streets on earth are made of asphalt and concrete. I don't know exactly what goes into asphalt, but I'm pretty sure it's just garbage, just junk. And that's what God paves his streets with in heaven. See, gold is one of the most precious metals, one of the most precious things on this earth. And God paves the streets with it. One of the things we want most on this earth is gold, is money. And that's something that doesn't even matter in heaven. It's just another material. That's how incredible heaven is. And that's the reward he wants for us. Mark Ingram tweeted yesterday, when the Lord is on your side, you already have the victory, but you still have to go through the battle. Being a Christian isn't easy. We're going to be faced with hard times. We know that. It comes with the territory. But we need to persevere. Because he has a plan for us. He has a plan for you. He has a plan for me. As long as we follow him. So let us not grow weary of doing good. for in due time we will receive the reward, that victorious reward of living with Him for eternity.